Alright, so I took the rear end out and I blasted it with my pressure washer blaster. I didn't record it because I've got plenty of recordings of doing that. So I'm going to take the wheels off. I'm fixing to break this thing down. Still don't know if I'm going with this rear end or if I'm going to order me a 12 bolt or a 4 9-inch. Haven't got to that point yet, but we're going to go ahead and break this thing down to a housing so I can get it painted, so at least it looks good when I go to the C10 Nats. So I'll bring the camera in close so that you can see what I'm doing here. So the axles are in here, and there's a pin right here that goes from top to bottom, holds 2 of the spider gears in. So to get an axle out, you have to push it in, and there's a C-clip that drops. But before you can do that, you have to take this one bolt out, and it's got a pin that retains the shaft from moving in the rear end. So there's also a washer on there. Don't want to lose that. So we're going to set that down, and then we need to pull this shaft out. It doesn't have to come out all the way, but I'm going to pull it just to show. So once the shaft goes in, this bolt goes in through the side, and it indexes through that hole just to hold it in place. So I'm going to slide this back in because these spider gears can move and it makes it a bear. So next, all you're going to do is you just push the axle in, and sometimes you can get it without much hassle. You pull out the C-clip, and then the axle can slide out. And then there's the axle. So now we're going to do the other side, push it in, and sometimes that happens. The C-clip dropped down into the carrier. So now we can push that axle out, and we can push this pin back in. And once we get that in, we can take that bolt, roll it up. That pin's trying to roll completely out. Alright. So to take this carrier out, this piece here, there's 4 bolts that hold it in place. One of the things that you have to do is you have to mark these caps so that they go back in the same place that they were in, because they're machined when they're first installed. They're machined to the case. So I'm going to mark these, and I'm just going to simply do a 1 and a 2. You can use a center punch and put 1 mark on one and 2 on the other, however you want to do it. I have numbered punches, so I'm just going to do a number 1 on this side and a number 2 on this side. So whenever I put it in, this is the bottom of the housing, this is the top. As long as I put them into where I can read the numbers well, then I know I'm good. So a number 1, put it right here, and we're just gonna smack it. Make sure we get a good hit. I believe you can see that. Take a little bit of brake cleaner and clean that off and make sure that it's visible. So yes, that is visible. Alright, so we have a 1 there and a 2 there, so that I know when I go to put this back together, as long as I have the orientation to where I'm reading the numbers correctly, I should be good. So the next thing is to take these bolts off. So you can see the number 2 right here. So whenever I go in, I put it back in, I just know that that number 2 goes there. And then that's got the number 1 right there. So now, one of the other things is you're going to have shims out here to put a preload on this carrier, and I can tell you that these bearings are bad because I can move it up and down. So there should be, the races should be forced in to hold pressure on these bearings, and they're not. That should not move up and down like that. Again, this whole thing is bad. So it comes out way too easy. There's no preload on those bearings. So one of the things I will do is I will go get some zip ties, and on this side, the number 1, I'll put 1 zip tie around the race and the shims. On this side, I'll put 2 zip ties to correspond with the numbers on the cap. So let me go grab the zip tie so I've got them, and then we'll take that out. All right, so I got my zip ties. Put 2 on this side, 1 on this side. So let's lift this up and get, yeah. So these are this side. I'm going to set them over here on that side for now. And then this one, oh, that is not good. This bearing is completely toast. So there may have been a preload on this at some point in time, but this bearing is hammered, and both of them are toast. So they're just, wow. So I'm guessing the preload got ate up by the bearing being bad. So if you look in here, you can see all this right in here. That's not good, and you can feel that there's a ridge in there where the bearings have run down. So that very well could have been because there wasn't enough of a preload on it. I don't know. So this is the number 1 bearing, race. So I can honestly say that this rear end is no good. However, you can get parts and you can rebuild it. So 1 zip tie, you can put that in a solvent tank and clean it up like that, and I'll get down in here on these bearings really good too. And let's look at this race. Yeah, this one's pretty bad too. Yeah, it's got a lot of galling on it. Wow, I've not seen one this bad that was still running. And there's definitely, you can actually see the ridge lines right here where it's been moving back and forth. So that's definitely bad. So at a minimum, I'm gonna say need a new carrier and new axles and a new ring and pinion. So basically the housing would be the only thing that would be reused on this. I will put all this back together. I'll put a lot of bearing grease on that just to have it. So all of this I will clean up. But yeah, that bearing is really bad. So, and if you look at the spider gears, there's a lot of rust. I don't know if it's rust or galling or what, but yeah, there's a lot of slop in them. So I had to go borrow this from my neighbor. But this little gadget here simply bolts on, and you find the holes that best fit what you got. I might be able to get all 4 of them in there. And tight. Okay. 1 1/8. That's it. So I'm gonna try with the impact to get that to come loose. Don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we are gonna give it a shot. Wow, that normally doesn't happen like that, but okay. That was not even remotely in there tight. So what came out here? We have the pinion gear, and it's got a bearing on it, and then it's got what's called a crush sleeve. It's actually a preload bearing preload setting device, and then there's another bearing in the front. So that should have been that nut should have been really tight on there. So it's out. We're golden. Okay, so I put all this back together. Nothing inside this rear end is going to be usable. If I decide to go with this rear end, then the carrier will be replaced with a limited slip unit. All the bearings were completely shot. The ring and pinion are bad. The axles need to be replaced. The axle that was on the driver's side, there's bluing on the end of it, which I think means that it was getting hot, and it was probably in the bearing. The bearing had some bluing to it too. So it's put back together. I just greased it up. I'm not going to put any oil in it. I just put it back together so I have a rear end to go up underneath the chassis when I take it to the show. So I'm fixing to get this down off of the jack stands and roll it out and start cleaning some stuff up in here so I can get to work on the remainder of the parts I need to strip down and get primed. So that's the next process or project, is to get those done. Frame rails are hanging from the ceiling for now. I'm gonna scuff them down and smooth them out and probably get one more coat of primer on them before I start assembly. But right now I've just got them hanging up to get them out of the way. We'll get this done and we'll go from there.